In a picturesque village on the outskirts of Lisbon, Portugal, where the stone alleys echo the melancholy sound of fado and the aroma of roasted chestnuts fills the air, lives Clara, a 35-year-old woman with wavy brown hair and honey-colored eyes that hide a restless flame. Married for 10 years to Antonio, a 47-year-old naval engineer, she feels the weight of a life that has lost its luster. Antonio, always on long trips, leaves Clara alone with his stepdaughter, Inés, in a large house with white tiles that looks like a mausoleum of silence. The desire that once brought them together has been suffocated by routine and distance. Clara grew up in Mafra, a nearby city, under the watchful eyes of her parents, José and Mariana, who raised her with strict values. Marriage is a sacred vow, Clara, Mariana repeated, in a tone that did not admit of replies. But now, at 35, Clara feels the emptiness pulsating in her chest. She longs for something more, a touch, a look that makes her feel alive. When Mariana falls ill, Clara returns to her parents' house in Mafra, a mansion with whitewashed walls and windows that creak in the wind, to take care of her. José, a furniture craftsman, insists that his youngest son, Diogo, 21, gives up his room. "Clara, you are our guest. Make yourself comfortable," says José, with affection in his voice. Diogo, tall and with dark eyes, greets her coldly. "Hi, sis. See you later." The distance between them, the result of years apart, hurts. Clara, she wants to win her brother back, but a greater emptiness consumes her. In that mansion, between the smell of freshly cut wood and the moans of the wind, Clara is about to face a forbidden desire that could set everything she knows on fire. I would like to take a brief break to ask for your like and subscription to the channel. You are helping us a lot with this simple gesture, and I would like to know which city you watch us from. The mansion in Mafra, with its polished wooden hallways and the scent of jasmine coming from the garden, becomes Clara's refuge while Mariana recovers. But the emptiness of her marriage, too, Antonio haunts her like a shadow. Diogo, her younger brother, remains distant, responding to Clara's gestures, such as preparing a cod stew that he loved as a child, with monosyllables. "Thanks, sis," he murmurs, dark eyes shifting away from hers. Little by little, however, the barriers give way. One night, as they share stew by candlelight, he laughs at an old memory, and Clara feels a warmth she hasn't felt in a long time. "Do you remember when we stole Grandma's cupcakes?" she asks, smiling. "And you always took the blame," replies Diogo, his tone lighter. This bond rekindles something in Clara, but it also leaves her vulnerable. It is then that Tomás, Diogo's best friend, enters the scene. At 23 years old, Tomás is a fisherman from Cascais, with curly brown hair burnt by the sun and a smile that seems to promise secrets. He appears at the mansion frequently, bringing a raw and magnetic energy. "Clara, you look too young to be married," he teases, his eyes sparkling as he adjusts the fishing net in his calloused hands. She laughs, but a shiver runs down her spine. Tension grows when Mariana and José leave for a consultation in Sintra, leaving Clara and Diogo alone. Tomás arrives, and the three sit in the backyard under the moonlight, drinking red wine and listening to the sea in the distance. Diego, tired, leaves. "I'm going to bed, sis. Good night." Clara and Tomás are alone, the air filled with something dangerous. He leans in, the smell of salt and wood on his skin invading her senses. "You're tense, Clara. What's missing?" he whispers, his voice hoarse. She hesitates, her heart racing, knowing that each word pulls her into a seductive abyss. The backyard of the mansion in Mafra, illuminated by the silver moonlight that reflects on the olive trees, becomes a stage for temptations. Clara, with wavy brown hair loose over her shoulders, feels the gaze of Tomas, the 23-year-old fisherman, burning her like embers. He approaches, the empty wine glass between his calloused fingers, and the silence between them is broken only by the chirping of crickets. "Clara, how long has it been since you felt alive?" he murmurs, his deep brown eyes fixed on hers. She swallows hard, heat rising up her neck. "I don't know what you're talking about," she lies, her voice shaking, but her eyes betray her desire. Tomas smiles, a slow and dangerous smile, and places something in her hands, a shell necklace, made by him. "I found these on the beach. I thought of you." The gesture is simple, but the touch of his fingers brushing against hers makes Clara's body shiver. Without warning, he pulls her into a dark corner of the yard, near the stone fountain. The sound of the water mixed with her breathing now accelerated. He leans her against the cold wall, his masculine body pressing against hers, and whispers, "Let me show you what you forgot." His lips find hers, first hesitant, then hungry, tasting of salt and wine. Clara's hands, almost instinctively, grab his curly hair, pulling him closer. The necklace falls to the floor, forgotten, as desire consumes her. But then, a noise cuts through the night, the sound of a branch breaking. Clara walks away, her heart in her throat, her eyes wide, searching for the source. "Diogo?" he whispers in panic. Tomas holds her tight. "Calm down, it was just the wind," he says, but doubt gnaws at her. The possibility of being seen by her brother fills her with terror and excitement, a poisonous mixture that leaves her trembling. At that moment, Clara knows that she has crossed a limit, and that the necklace on the floor is silent proof of her fall. The mansion in Mafra wakes up to the crowing of roosters, but Clara didn't sleep. The shell necklace, now stored in her pocket, weighs like an anchor. In the kitchen, she cuts oranges for coffee, her fingers trembling, as the echo of Tomas's kiss resonates in her mind. His honey-colored eyes reflect guilt and a desire he can't erase. Diogo enters, scratching his dark eyes, and stares at her for a moment. "You look strange, sis. Did you feel sick?" he asks, his voice casual, but the tone makes her freeze. "No, I didn't sleep well," she replies, forcing a smile. In the following days, Clara avoids Tomas, but he appears at the mansion, bringing fresh fish from Cascais as an excuse. "I brought this for your mother," he says, his mischievous smile belying his innocence. His every look is a spark, and Clara fights the heat that rises to her skin. She takes refuge in tasks, taking care of Mariana, helping Jose in the furniture workshop. But the emptiness of her marriage to Antonio suffocates her. One night, alone in her room, she takes the necklace and clutches it to her chest, whispering, "What am I doing?" The decision comes like a bolt of lightning. When Tomas returns, Clara stares at him in the backyard, the wind ruffling her brown hair. "This has to stop," she says, her voice firm, but her eyes betray her internal struggle. Tomas approaches, the smell of the sea on his skin invading her again. "Don't tell me you didn't feel anything," he teases, brushing his thumb over her lips. Clara steps back, her heart racing. I'm married, Tomas. I can't. He sighs, brown eyes softening. You deserve more than a man who forgets you, Clara. Those words hit her like a blow. She goes back inside, locking the door, but the seed of doubt blooms. Clara realizes that it's not just about Tomas, it's about who she has become. Between guilt and desire, she decides to face Antonio and what's left of her marriage. The air in the mansion in Mafra is heavy, filled with the smell of imminent rain and the tension that Clara carries in her chest. She returns to Lisbon, to the white-tiled house, determined to confront Antonio. He arrives from a trip, his face tired, but his blue eyes as cold as ever. Clara, you look different, he says, dropping his bag on the floor. She takes a deep breath, the shell necklace hidden in her pocket, a burning secret against her thigh. We need to talk, Antonio. I can't take this emptiness anymore, she says, her voice trembling but firm. Antonio frowns. You're exaggerating. As always, his response is a match lit in Clara's gasoline. Overdo it? You don't even see me anymore. She explodes, her honey eyes sparkling. The argument escalates, voices echoing through the walls, until Clara, on impulse, almost confesses the kiss with Tomas. But then, the phone rings. It's Jose, warning that Mariana has gotten worse. The urgency forces them to a truce, and they leave for Mafra. In the mansion, chaos takes over. Mariana is feverish, and Diogo runs to get the doctor. Tomas appears, offering help, and his gaze meets Clara's in the dark corridor. The tension between them is electric, almost palpable. While Antonio is with Jose next to Mariana, Tomas pulls Clara into the pantry. I can't stop thinking about you, he whispers, his lips inches from hers, the heat of his body enveloping her. She gives in for a moment, their bodies pressed together, but the sound of footsteps makes her push him away. Two, he says, panting. Antonio enters the hallway, his eyes narrowed. What's going on here? He asks, his voice sharp. Clara freezes, the necklace falling from her pocket to the floor. Thomas retreats, but the damage is done. Antonio takes the necklace, his face red with fury. Is this yours? He roars. Clara, between tears and relief, confesses, yes, but it's over. The climax explodes in silence, the marriage exposed in ruins. The mansion in Mafra remains silent after the confrontation, the shell necklace on the floor like a relic of an exposed error. Antonio stares at Clara, his blue eyes now stormy, his breathing heavy. It's over, Clara. There's nothing left here, he says, his voice sharp as a razor. He grabs his suitcase and leaves, leaving her alone in the hallway, the echo of the slamming door reverberating in his chest. Clara falls to her knees, tears mixing with relief and pain. The marriage, already fragile, crumbles under the weight of the truth. Tomas, still in the pantry, tries to get closer, his face marked by guilt and desire. Clara, he begins, but she interrupts him, her honey-colored eyes blazing. Go away, Tomas. This was a mistake. He hesitates, his curly hair falling over his forehead, but he obeys, stepping out into the rain that finally falls outside. Clara takes the necklace, clasps it in her hands, and throws it out the window, a gesture of liberation and renunciation. Days later, Mariana improves, and the mansion returns to apparent calm. Diogo, oblivious to the chaos, hugs Clara on a cold morning. "I'm glad you're here, sis," she says, her sincere smile warming her. She reciprocates, but her thoughts are elsewhere. Back in Lisbon, alone in the tiled house, Clara reflects in the light of a lamp. "I lost everything for a moment," he murmurs, but there is a new spark in his voice, the promise of reconstruction. She decides not to run after Antonio or give in to Tomas. Instead, he begins to write, pouring his emotions into letters he will never send. The desire that knocked her down also woke her up. The future is uncertain, but Clara feels, for the first time in years, the taste of freedom. The rain outside washes away the past, and she smiles, a small but real smile, while the wind whispers promises of a new beginning. Months have passed since the storm that swept away Clara's past. The tiled house in Lisbon, once a tomb of silence, now breathes life. Clara, age 35, with her wavy brown hair as loose as ever, transformed the space. Walls painted ochre, flowers in vases, the sound of a radio playing fado in the background. The shell necklace was left behind, but its echo changed her. She did not go back to Antonio, who now lives in Setúbal with Inés, sending formal letters about her daughter. Guilt still visits her, but Clara welcomes her like an old friend. In Mafra, Mariana has recovered, and José continues carving furniture, the smell of wood filling the mansion. Diogo, oblivious to the secret that almost separated them, writes from time to time from the university in Coimbra, where he studies history. "I miss you, sister," he says in a letter, and Clara smiles, keeping it with affection. But it is Thomas who reappears like a specter. One summer afternoon, he appears on Clara's doorstep in Lisbon, his body tanned by the Cascais sun, his brown eyes full of regret. "I didn't come to ask for anything, Clara. Just to say that I never forgot you," he murmurs, his voice hoarse. She stares at him, her heart racing, but there's strength in her honey eyes. "Me neither, Thomas. But I chose myself," she replies calmly. He nods, a sad smile curving his lips, and leaves, leaving the scent of salt in the air. Clara closes the door, takes a deep breath, and picks up her pen. The letters she writes became a book, a sensual tale of desire and redemption that she publishes under a pseudonym. At night, under the starry sky of Lisbon, Clara looks out the window, the wind playing with her hair. "It's my life now," he whispers, his tone full of promise. Fado echoes, sad and beautiful, as she embraces her new skin, no longer a wife, no longer a hostage, but a free woman, marked by the fire that almost consumed her and by the love that finally she found within herself. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us and tell me where you follow us from.